Hundreds of millions flow from city budgets straight into Formula One's hands before a single tyre hits the track. Yet the world's most glamorous race leaves behind crumbling streets, welded manhole covers and mounting debts so severe they can bankrupt entire cities. If hosting Formula One is supposed to be a shortcut to global prestige, why do so many cities end up in financial crisis instead? The answer starts with a contract that is almost impossible to refuse until it is much too late. Every Formula One race begins with a signature, an agreement that locks a city into years of escalating payments before a single grandstand is built. These contracts require host cities to pay annual fees that typically range from $20 million to $60 million, depending on prestige and market size. Many deals stretch for a decade, with each year the payment climbing higher, often through built-in escalator clauses. While the exact terms remain confidential, industry insiders and city officials confirm that annual increases of 5 to 10% are common, pushing total obligations far beyond the headline number. For a city starting at $50 million a year, a 10-year contract with annual hikes can mean over $650 million transferred to Formula One by the end of the deal, money drawn straight from public budgets or local sponsors. This arrangement stands in sharp contrast to other global sporting events. The NFL Super Bowl, for example, rotates between cities that bid for the privilege, and the league itself provides financial support for local infrastructure and shares in sponsorship revenue. In Formula One, the direction of money is reversed. Cities pay Liberty Media, the commercial rights holder, just for the right to host. There is no revenue sharing on global television rights, trackside advertising, or premium hospitality packages. The fee is non-refundable, due up front, and owed even if ticket sales fall short or weather forces a cancellation. For Liberty Media, these hosting fees are a guaranteed revenue stream. In 2023, the company generated an estimated $700 to $900 million from sanctioning rights alone, accounting for a substantial share of Formula One's total income. With more than 20 races on the calendar, each new city represents another long-term source of profit, locked in by contracts that grow more expensive each year. Before a single construction crew arrives, before roads are closed or barriers installed, the financial risk has already shifted. The city shoulders the burden, paying for the hope of global attention and an economic windfall. It is a model engineered to minimize risk for Formula One, while maximizing returns, leaving host cities to grapple with mounting obligations that can outpace any short-term gains. Every Formula One street circuit is a temporary transformation on a massive scale. To meet the sport's technical standards, cities must rip up and rebuild miles of public roads each year. Ordinary asphalt will not survive a Formula One car taking a corner at over 200 miles per hour, generating up to 5G of lateral force. Instead, engineers source specialized high-grip asphalt, sometimes imported from distant quarries, to create a surface that can withstand the punishment. The process is not as simple as laying a new road. Crews must dig down, replace the base layers, and resurface entire stretches to a tolerance measured in millimeters. Safety regulations demand more than just new pavement. Every manhole cover along the route must be located and welded shut to prevent the vacuum created by racing cars from ripping them loose. In Las Vegas, hundreds of covers were sealed this way after a loose plate destroyed a car's suspension during a practice session. Traffic signals, streetlights, even curbs are removed or protected. Miles of concrete barriers and steel catch fencing are installed piece by piece to shield both spectators and drivers. Grandstands, hospitality suites and TV camera towers rise where city buses usually run their routes. All of this is temporary. Within days of the checkered flag, the entire circuit must be dismantled. Crews work around the clock to remove barriers, fencing and stands, then repave or repair any damaged streets. The cycle repeats every year, with each teardown and rebuild costing millions. For the Las Vegas Grand Prix alone, the combined price tag for resurfacing, infrastructure upgrades and temporary installations reached nearly $400 million in its first year. Annual operating expenses for a typical street circuit hover around $18 million, not counting the cost of storing and maintaining thousands of tons of specialized equipment. These upgrades rarely leave behind lasting benefits. When a city loses its race, what remains is often a patchwork of mismatched pavement, abandoned concrete, and storage yards filled with unused barriers. The engineering marvels that once hosted the world's fastest cars become expensive scars, reminders of promises made and budgets broken. In Hanoi, the promise of Formula One vanished before a single engine fired. The city poured over $100 million into a Herman Tilke-designed circuit, carving a 5.6-kilometre ribbon through the heart of Vietnam's capital. Construction crews reshaped city streets, installed lighting, and built permanent pit buildings. But the inaugural race, set for 2020, never happened. COVID-19 delays and a corruption scandal involving the deputy transport minister left the track unfinished and unused. Today, concrete barriers and empty grandstands sit as silent reminders of a deal that delivered only debt. Thousands of kilometers away in Yeonggam, South Korea, the story follows a similar path. The Korean International Circuit cost $260 million to build, opening in 2010 with hopes of turning a rural area into a global destination. Over 4 years, the track hosted just 4 races. Attendance lagged, annual fees mounted, and local governments struggled to recover costs. After 2013, the circuit was abandoned. Its grandstands were rusting and its asphalt cracked by weeds and weather. India's Buddhi International Circuit stands as another monument to ambition and loss. Built for $400 million outside Delhi, it hosted only 3 Grand Prix between 2011 and 2013. Legal disputes over unpaid taxes and safety upgrades forced the track to close. The facility now sits largely empty, a sprawling complex frozen in time, its gates locked to the public. In Valencia, Spain, a €200 million street circuit once promised to transform the city's waterfront. 5 races came and went, but the economic boost never materialised. Today, the circuit's pit buildings are boarded up and shanty towns have sprung up where Formula One teams once parked their trailers. Each of these sites tells the same story: massive public investment, fleeting glory, and physical ruins left behind when the circus moves on. Las Vegas rolled the dice on Formula One, pouring $500 million into a race that drew headlines for its spectacle and its price tag. The city claimed a $1.2 billion economic windfall in 2023, but the numbers mask a deeper divide. On the Strip, casino owners and luxury hotels filled their suites with high rollers, while Formula One and Liberty Media kept every dollar from global TV rights, premium hospitality, and trackside advertising. General admission tickets, the cheapest seats, offered the only direct revenue stream for the city itself. A few blocks away, small businesses felt the cost. Wade Bowen, who owns a gas station just off the main circuit, described months of construction barriers that made it almost impossible for customers to reach his pumps. He said they lost more than half their revenue during race preparation. Other shop owners reported empty restaurants and regulars staying away, replaced by a flood of visitors who rarely left the casino corridors. Lawsuits from local businesses frustrated by lost income continue to work through the courts. Economists like J.C. Bradbury warn that the much-touted economic impact figures rarely account for this displacement. He says the benefits are real for some, but the pain is real for others. Mega events often just move money around, rather than creating new wealth. Meanwhile, in places like Saudi Arabia, the calculation is different. The Jeddah Corniche circuit cost over $500 million to build, but for oil-rich governments, the race is a marketing expense. They pay tens of millions of dollars a year for a few minutes of global attention, unconcerned with local backlash or budget deficits. As Formula One adds more races in the Gulf and Asia, the calendar is shifting towards cities willing to pay for prestige, not profit. For everyone else, the risks keep rising while the rewards slip further away. Today, Liberty Media collects nearly $1 billion a year in hosting fees, while cities face mounting debts and abandoned circuits. As more governments chase prestige over prudence, taxpayer risk only grows. The real race is not on the track, it is for accountability before the next deal is signed.